is my review of My Hero Academia, Chapter 241. Do that interview, and thankfully we're no longer in that villain academia, but back to My Hero Academia. I think we all can say we certainly enjoyed the villain arc, but I'm just glad that we're back with the main cast again. I kind of miss them. I also think it's interesting, the last chapter was all about how the Paranormal Liberation Army, whatever the hell you want to call it, manipulate the media, and this chapter is about the same thing, learning how to manipulate the media. I mean, it started off with Todoroki and Bakugo doing an interview because apparently they stopped a massive villain attack like 30 minutes after getting their hero license, and that's a big deal. I mean, it's pretty funny, but I get what they're saying. Anyway, Bakugo does so absolutely, terribly, horribly bad that they literally cut him from the entire interview. And it's basically just Todoroki talking to himself for an hour. Jesus Christ. We also then see them reacting to the Daika incident and seeing how the rest of the world's reacting. Essentially, people are realizing, why are you getting mad at these guys for protecting themselves? I mean, did you want them to file the paperwork or whatever? Do you want them just to run and hide and die? Or did you want them to stand up and fight? Defend their homes, defend their families, do what they can not to die? A lot of people are starting to come along to the point that maybe quirks shouldn't be so regulated, that they should have a little more freedom in what they can do. I mean, obviously quirks need to be regulated at least a little bit, or else it's just going to be absolute freaking chaos. The new Liberation Army doesn't seem to realize that. But I'm sure that by the end of the series, things are going to be a little easier for everyone. They can use their quirks a bit more freely without so much concern of being arrested or being branded a criminal. Anyway, then Mountain Lady and Midnight show up, and you just gotta love Mineta here. I mean, this girl literally comes in ass first, and instead of being a pervert, he's just filled with unruly hatred. I mean, he did his internship, whatever, with her, so yeah, he's a lot of fear for this woman, a lot of hatred towards her. I just love that it somehow managed to overwhelm his pervertedness in this one scene. Anyway, today's topic is going to be learning how to handle the media. Start off with Todoroki, and he is just... Oh, God. I mean, he is such a straight man, you know? Like Mountain Lady says, "Oh, my heart's beating on my chest." And he's like, "Oh, do you have a heart condition?" I mean, just... Oh, God. I would like to blame this on his isolated childhood and the fact that he basically had no friends growing up or really any connection to the outside world. But, oh God, this is just painful to watch. We do get a very interesting moment with him where he essentially says that he's not at his father's level. He can't do the flash fire fist like his father can. Which even Deku realized, such a huge moment for him to realize that he can learn from his father, that he isn't at his level, but he can still keep growing, he can still become stronger and hopefully one day surpass him instead of just being this ball of rage who thinks he isn't his father for anything. I like that. It's a good moment for him. I mean, obviously, there's no way in hell I think any of us are ever going to really forgive Endeavor for all the shit he's done. I mean, he basically bought a woman, then forcibly impregnated her multiple times. So much wrong with that. But, you know what? Let's move past that for right now. Mountain Lady explains why she had him show off his ultimate move. It's because it's very common with the media. They ask to see the ultimate move, not just so they can, but more so that other people will become aware of it. So they see Hero and they're like, "That's the hero who can save us. He's the one that can float us away from danger. Okay, now we know we're going to be safe." Or they'll say, "Oh, that's Todoroki. He has the ice quirk. I can combine that with my elasticity quirk to make bouncing ice cubes to stop the villain," or something. By being able to recognize at a glance who the heroes are and know what they can do, know what they're capable of, it allows for much better cooperation between heroes who just sporadically happen to end up in the same site. And then we have the, the rest of them give their little speeches. I mean, some of these are just absolutely hilarious. "I bring encyclopedic knowledge and powerful memory to the table. Once I show up, everything's okay. No glory awaits those who know not of darkness." no blood's gonna be shed behind this wall. That actually might be my favorite, I gotta say. I mean, it's really, him saying that he is the impenetrable wall that will protect everyone who stands behind him. He's the guardian, he's the protector. And that really just matches up with who he is and how his quirk works. And Bach goes up, and he's honestly, not too bad, but his basically Mount Lady says, yeah, you shouldn't partner up with anyone ever again for an interview. It just makes you fight. It's bad. It's terrible. Just don't do it. I mean, Midnight even says maybe he just shouldn't do interviews anymore. And then Deku's up, and he is literally rigid. I mean, they literally altered his art style to make him look more rigid. It just little touches like that. I love it. They even said he's mastered my hardening quirk, which, hell, he might just do. But once they, start asking questions about All Might, he goes into his usual endless muttering rant, all excited and happy. There doesn't really work as an interview, but then they ask him to show off his new quirk, his new power. And he imagines it as a long hallway with a bunch of locks at the end of it. He realizes it's a power that he doesn't quite have yet, a power that's waiting for him down the road, a power he can acquire all himself. He's learned how to contain the power, to keep it from exploding out of him. Now he just needs to learn to open the locks a little bit, to let out tiny fragment that he can control. And he does! He shoots it out, this black whip from his glove, and then it immediately falls apart. I mean, he literally shoots like 3-4 inches of the whip out, and that's it. Which, I mean, he's pretty proud of, but yeah, it's going to take a whole lot more than that for him to actually be able to use his quirk in any form of battle. His gloves are interesting, though. I don't remember if they had those little braces on top of each of his knuckles before, but it's interesting. It's like a way to direct the whip forward, and in a full battle, once he's fully unlocked the quirk, it would let him have at least 10 whips out at a time that he could use to bring people to safety or defend himself or do Spider-Man stuff with, which would be absolutely freaking amazing. Anyway, final page. We move back to All Might, who's talking with the principal, and oh Jesus, All Might is not looking well right now. Apparently he's been giving up sleep at night to look into the past, trying to find records of the previous users of One for All. Though, as he says, the records of the past generations are far and few between, and he's putting all this together in a notebook. He's making a notebook for Deku. I completely missed it the first time reading it, but oh my freaking god. This whole series started with Deku's notebook about All Might, about all the heroes around him, about all the abilities and quirks they had, and now All Might himself is making one for Deku. He's making a notebook for him. That just... I just love that. I absolutely freaking love that. Final panel, they're about ready to announce the next round of work studies. So I'm guessing they're all going to go off and find another hero to collaborate with. I'm honestly not sure who Deku is going to show up with now. I mean, the first guy he worked with, he basically lost his hero license. The second guy died. I think it might actually be a little worrisome to let him partner up with anyone at this point. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad luck, but he's pretty much bad luck. Everywhere he goes, villains seem to show up and cause chaos. Alright, so those are my thoughts on My Hero Academia. Next week, I'm assuming, hopefully, we find out a little bit more about the other quirk users that All Might's managed to track down. What was their abilities, what could they do, and how will Deku incorporate this moving forward? I really doubt that all 6 or 7 of them, how many it is, are going to be, like attack quirk focused, like they can shoot whips or get super strength or shoot ice or fire or lightning. I definitely don't think they're going to try to avoid giving anything too similar to the people around him, just because that would kind of make them obsolete. I mean, a healing quirk would certainly be useful, especially with its, powered up by One for All. That would, hell, he could probably fix up All Might if he got that. Maybe some kind of tracking quirk, something that lets him, sense people around him or read minds or something. I'm honestly not sure. I mean, this is Deku we're talking about, so any quirk he unlocks, no matter what it's going to be, he'll find a way to mix into his fighting style. Find a way to make it work for him eventually. But yeah, let me throw it in the comment section down below. What other quirks are Deku going to get? And how will we handle them? Be sure to like, subscribe. Till next time. Peace.